What's up, everybody? This is Tiana from Straight from the Crates, and today we are reviewing Jay Z's Volume 2 Hard Knock Life. And let me say something that might sound crazy. I'm not a Jay Z fan, not for real. I never was, but there was one album, one that I could not escape in middle school. It didn't matter where you were, if you were on the bus, the hallway, the radio, or in the basement. Volume 2 was undeniable. And here's the controversial part. This might actually be his best album. Not The Blueprint, not Reasonable Doubt, this one. And I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to start with Picture It, 1998. This was just any year. It wasn't just any year. It was the beginning of when hip hop started shifting. The streets, they were still raw, but the industry, it was getting bigger, flashier, more commercial. And then here comes Volume 2, The Hard Knock Life, sampling Annie on the biggest song. I mean, that wasn't just creative, that was strategic. And Jay-Z figured out something before everybody else. You could make street music and still dominate pop culture. That was the balance that I feel most artists were not able to figure out. So, let's talk about the bars because this is where people get it twisted. Jay-Z wasn't just rapping about money, he was rapping about transition. Transition from a hustler to a mogul, transitioning from survival to strategy, transitioning from street code to a corporate mindset. And you hear it all over this album. He's not trying to impress you with complexity. He's trying to reprogram how you think about success. And whether you like it or not, he succeeded. And here's why this album gets overlooked. It's because it's too accessible. There's too many hits. Too many people liked it. And in hip hop culture, sometimes the more popular something is, the less respect it gets. But let's be clear, it did have a massive cultural impact. It has replay value, and it's insane, and it definitely had a generational influence. So the real question is the album underrated because it was too successful? And I think it gets a little weird when we look at the people who were featured on this album or who Jay-Z was around. So there was DMX, Ja Rule, Memphis Bleak, Emil, and at the time, I feel like it seemed like it was a little movement, kind of an ecosystem of, New York people, New Jersey people. But fast forward to today, how many of these names are still standing at that level? And more importantly, who distanced themselves from who? Because Jay Z didn't just rise, he separated. And whether that was business or something else, it raised a real question. Is elevation the same thing as abandonment? Now let's go there. Jay-Z became the face of something bigger than music. He became the face of money and not just having it, but worshiping it. And this album is one of the earliest blueprints of that mindset. Like, success equals wealth, wealth equals power, power equals respect, money, power, respect. It's the key to life. Simple formula. But here's the cost. What happened to loyalty? Community. It sounds like we're talking about community all the time on here. Like, it is definitely a recurring theme. I digress. Creativity for its own sake. Spiritual grounding. Because somewhere along the line, hip hop stopped asking, how real are you? And started asking, how rich are you? And Jay Z, whether intentionally or unintentionally, became the symbol of that shift. So now we have to ask ourselves, when did we as a culture decide that money was the highest form of success? And was this album one of those moments that helped make the decision permanent? Look, you don't have to like Jay-Z. I don't consider myself a fan. But Volume 2, that album changed something. Not just music, but the mindset. And maybe the real reason it's underrated is because we're still living inside the world that helped create it. And that's all I have from Straight from the Crates. You guys, let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.